Having an above average win rate is a must if you want to climb the ranks in Valorant, but no one only wants to be slightly above average, right? There are some rules you need to follow and tips that could help you if you want to further increase that win rate. And that's what I'm sharing with you today. The first thing you need to do in order to increase your win rate is to pick one or a small amount of agents to focus on. This might sound like obvious advice, but it's really important if you want to have as high of a win rate as you possibly can. Picking one or a few agents to play allows you to spend a lot of time outside of ranked practicing them, as well as let you experience all different scenarios in game with those agents. You'll know where to go if you're getting pushed in a specific position, you'll know how to take over a site in the best possible way, etc. The problem many people have is that their agent pool is either too big or they don't even pick an agent at all to main and stick with it. They might for a few weeks, but then it's on to the next agent. I've been maining Jet for over a year now, which allowed me to solo queue from Silver to High Immortal. Mostly playing Jet in game gave me the experience needed to know what I have to do in pretty much all situations I get into. I know how to play around all types of teammates and how to play on all maps, so focus ideally on one or two agents and practice them often. How do you plan on practicing them if you're playing 8 hours of ranked a day? Instead, what you want to be doing is to lower those hours to just a few hours, but make sure that during those games you're 100% focused on winning. And that's my next point. If you're currently using all your time in Valorant to play ranked, then you want to instead make sure that you have a solid warm-up routine and practice routine. This, combined with playing less, will guarantee that you're focused and mentally ready for every game, as well as mechanically ready, since you'll have warmed up properly. I also suggest to use a good amount of the time you currently spend on ranked and instead start learning more about your agent, as well as improving your game sense through methods such as VOD reviewing. Playing fewer games a day will also help you avoid tilt queuing or just falling into the trap of queuing another game just for the sake of it. If you're serious about ranking up but you still want to play the game a lot, then go into a ranked instead. To keep queuing after getting tilted or losing your focus through playing a lot of games is not something you will be doing if you're trying to increase your win rates. If you now spend your extra, otherwise ranked time on improving, then you'll soon see huge differences. Some people will still say something along the lines of, even if I play well, I still lose because of my bad teammates. But that's not really true, and I'll explain why. It's crucial that you start taking responsibility for why you lose. Like I mentioned earlier, I solo queued all the way to my rank, and if I can do it, why can't you? I don't have a crazy amount of hours spent in Valorant. I just use the tips mentioned of picking a few agents, mastering them, playing less ranked, and focusing more on improving as a whole. If you get good enough yourself, it's pretty much impossible that you won't eventually rank up. Now sure, bad teammates can and will hinder you to some degree, but they definitely won't make ranking up this impossible task that some people make it out to be. A part of improving as a player is also learning how to deal with bad teammates when you encounter them, and that's my next point. I've made a whole video about this that's linked in the card above, so check that out for some advice on this topic. But a lot of it also comes from experience. When you've encountered enough teammates of all sorts, then you'll have a rough idea what you want to do with them. I also want you to remember that statistically, it shouldn't only be you having bad teammates. There are 5 other people in the enemy team as well, so chances are they probably aren't having the best team synergy either. And even if they are in this game, then in the next game you're playing, they might not be. The same thing goes for Smurfs and blaming them for your loss. Yeah, you will face some insane Smurfs every now and again, but you'll also have Smurfs in your team, so try to think a step further instead of blaming everything on reasons that can easily be debunked. I can't talk about increasing your win rate without mentioning queuing with premates. This is something that can be helpful, and I'm gonna tell you why. But I'm gonna be honest and say that I'm not the biggest proponent of this, and that's mainly because of one reason. That's that you're not always gonna be able to queue with people. Whether the reason you're winning a lot is because of some strat that you and a few friends often do, or if you just queue with one other person to get one less possibly bad teammate, my reasoning still holds true. Your premates aren't always gonna be online when you are, and you don't really want to get into a position where you don't queue ranked just because you have no one to play with. I've heard this from other people as well before, and it might not seem like a big deal at first, but eventually it's gonna become one, since things such as schedules or interests in life change. There are two main problems if you get into this situation. The first one is that you're probably gonna have a dislike for solo queue, since most of your memories of it are bad, which could possibly make you never want to play it. I personally love solo queuing, and I believe that's because it's what I'm used to. I can play with others as well, but I never have an issue with solo queuing because I've learned how to adapt to all types of teammates, and that's the second problem. If you don't solo queue from, let's say, silver to diamond, then when you're diamond you're gonna have a way harder time playing solo, since the ranks are so different from when you last did it. A very simple solution to this is that you learn how to solo queue and then take advantage of queuing with premates whenever you really need to. For example, if you're close to a rank up. I'm not trying to discourage you from playing with your friends, but just try to not build a habit of only solo queuing, because most likely it isn't gonna end well. Valorant is a game based around a few fundamental mechanics, and if you master those, you'll reach the highest ranks with ease. To find out which those are and how you can improve on them, check out the video on the screen. Using some of the tips and rules in this video, you should have no problem at all increasing your win rate. That's all I got for this video. See you next time.